Nicki Noftz, Pilates instructor at Mindful Movement. I got a great question regarding VMO. So this is going out to you, Disco Sue. VMO being basically kind of around your knee. It's a muscle that helps with our patella movement, flexion, extension. However, it is part of the quad, and it can cause malalignments in the knee if it's improperly firing. So there are several Pilates exercises that we can do to help stretch and strengthen. Now, the best way really is using new Pilates equipment. So the chair work, certain pieces on the reformer, these are really great for strengthening the knee. Mat work just makes it a little bit trickier to tune into that muscle, so it's just going to require a little bit more thought pattern as we go into trying to figure out how to get that leg to, that muscle to engage, to release, whatever it is that we need to keep working on it. Now for everybody out there, when we're talking about anything from my standpoint, we don't just address that one piece. It's a part of an inner working of much more of what's going on. So several of the exercises that I'm going to show are not just going to work and stretch the knee, but they're also going to work other aspects. I'm also going to throw in a couple of yoga positions that I think are very beneficial, especially when we're talking about some of the standing poses, and help get a little bit more strength in there because Pilates is pretty much done laying down. So let's start with the Pilates and then we'll move into some yoga poses that you can do that'll help with the knee and what you're talking about, Disco Sue. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about a couple of exercises in the stomach series. First one being single leg stretch. So this is a great way to stretch the knee in general while working the hip and of course in Pilates working the abs all along through that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take the left hand on our left ankle, right hand on our left knee. Right leg is going to stretch out. Now it can be higher if you've got problems with your back. It can be lower if you've got the strength. Notice also if you're doing something funky with your toes. So many times we overgrip our toes and put more excess energy in there, and then we lose the strength that we need from our leg and our hip. So make sure that the foot is pointed, but from the ankle, not necessarily curling those toes. The other piece we want here is we're pulling this knee all the way in, so we're stretching. Now the reason we're putting our outside hand on the ankle is because we can't pull this out of joint. If I switch and I put my inside hand, now I'm able to pull on my knee. So we want to keep this kind of tightness as opposed to being able to pull and stretch that knee. So when we pull this leg in for single leg stretch, we want the knee coming into our chest as much as we can, releasing the hip, and then we want to pull our foot down towards the booty. Here's our stretch in our knee. So if you're having that knee problem and you can't get this tight, that's okay. Just work that stretch. So we're going to stretch the knee, stretch the hip, strengthen the hip as we're doing this. One other thing to look out, and this is going to tune into this. Notice if your leg's turning out. You want this engagement of rolling in. So you can almost think about moving from this inner part of your leg, of your knee, so that you're rolling it in, not just rolling out. From here we can go into double leg stretch. It's going to be the same concept, only now we're going to take arms and legs out and around. Again, we want to pull the knees into our shoulders, pull our feet down towards our booty, getting that stretch. Inhale out, exhale around, working the knee through the movement and stretching it. Now one last piece, because we want to go ahead and make sure we're creating balance, we want to do scissors here. So we're going to reach up on the leg. If you are very tight, you might have to reach lower and slightly bend the knee. That's okay. As you get more flexibility, you want to come up here towards the ankle. If you're having a problem in the sense that you can't really get a very straight knee because you're really tight, you might want to not try this exercise. You also want to make sure that you're not just bending your knee as we pull the leg. And we want to make sure that when we do pull, we are stretching the leg and strengthening it. So you want to straighten that knee, engaging these muscles, and then pull it to you. Not just passively pulling, but engaging that leg as you pull. When we switch here, pulling the other leg, this leg again, trying to avoid the toes being over excess energized and making sure we're not rolling out, rolling in. You can think about as you lift up that you're going to lift right from these muscles of your knee, keeping them straight. to try and engage that as you lift up, so that really your knees are engaged here as we move through this. What's going to happen a lot of times is, especially as you lift that leg up, it's going to want to bend. What you want to do is engage those knee muscles and switch. This is going to get you some of that strength in there, but it's going to take a lot of mental to go and figure out how is it that I keep that knee stretched and strengthened as I'm pulling, as I do that. So those are 3 great exercises from the stomach series that you can do. There's also this exercise called double leg kick. So for double leg kick, we're going to come onto our belly, elbows are going to be slightly forward from our shoulders. We don't want them underneath here so that we're pulling forward. We don't want them too far out that we're sinking down. We want them just enough that we can get lift and pull. You're going to kick twice your booty and then down. And you kick and down. So we're stretching here, the front of the leg, and we're strengthening the back of the leg. When you kick, you want to make sure that you are stretching this. So many times people just kind of, I just kick the leg, I kick the leg, kick the leg. You want to make sure that there's an engagement. So you could think about slightly lifting the knee as you kick, and switch, kick, and switch. So that really you're getting this engagement back here, this muscle contracting, and this lengthening. So you go back and forth, just kicking, getting that stretch. So the last exercise that we're going to talk about for Pilates is we're going to do shoulder bridge. Okay. So we'll flip over, making sure that our feet are walked in as close to us as possible, to our booty, and hip width apart. The commonality that's going to happen here is as we lift up, the knees are going to roll out. But we want to make sure that, again, the legs are kind of rolling in, getting that engagement of the knee. So to do this, you can think about pressing your toes down. So just as much as you press your toes down, you press your heels down so that the entire foot is staying solid and engaged. At the same time, you want to notice if your feet roll out. Many times people will roll those feet out, so what you need to do is think about pressing that big toe down. By doing that, that should help get this inner line a little bit more engaged to help you as you lift up. So this is going to strengthen and stretch as we do this. So we're going to lift up, rolling our spine, pressing into our feet. We're going to lift those hips as high as we can. So right here you want to check in, make sure, am I got my toes down? Am I rolling those legs in or are they rolling out? And am I lifting the hips as high as I can by pressing further into my feet? And then I'm going to roll down. And again, checking in with that alignment of the leg, making sure you press evenly on the feet, the toes, the heels, and that you're really pressing into the inside part of the foot as much as you do the outside part of the foot. So those are some great Pilates exercises that you can use to start working on it. Make sure you are kind of tuning into those muscles, engagement-wise. Which sometimes is going to be a little bit trickier with the mat. When we have the springs from the equipment, it is pretty easy to figure out how to get that muscle. But while you're here on the mat, you need to just really get that mental connection on how you can engage that muscle so that you're strengthening and stretching at the same time. Again, we're not just focusing on this one piece, we're maneuvering through other pieces. So some great yoga that you can do, first being we're going to do pigeon. So for pigeon, what we're going to do is walk the foot over to the edge of the mat. Now, if you're finding problems with this knee being really tight, you want to flex that foot. It's going to help protect the knee a little bit more as you slide the back knee back. If you then feel okay, you can roll this foot a little bit and have it pointed. If you have too much of a tightness in the outside of your hip, you might need to put a blanket underneath you so that you're propped up. So this is going to stretch the outside of our hip. It's going to stretch our knee. If we can, we want to start walking down and then holding this position. This is going to stretch a little bit more of the outside and not necessarily as much of the inside. Where we're going to get the inside is we're going to do a kind of variation to pigeon. We're going to bend the back knee, reaching for the inside of the foot. Now, if you can, you want to start walking it into your elbow, trying to get it towards your booty. Although this might not be possible, work at the range where you can feel comfortable, and you're just going to stretch. This here is going to stretch the knee tremendously. If you can't reach, use a strap. and just kind of hook this around your foot much more gracefully than I am, and you can hold from the strap. If you're finding that pigeon might be a little bit too much strain on them, we can go ahead and do something up against the wall. So we can walk ourselves back up to the wall here, take our right knee and put it right into the edge where the floor and the wall meet. Left foot gonna come straight out in front. So we're pressing the entire shin onto the wall. Knee's gonna be into the wall as well. So if this is enough stretch for you, right into that front of the thigh, your knee, you can go ahead and stay here. If you feel like you can keep working yourself up, then you'll come up to a straight. And then you're going to start working your body back, deepening this stretch just a little bit more. If this is too much on the knee, please go ahead and do some of the other exercises so that you don't overstrain it. You know, that's the main thing, is we don't want to put extra stress onto it. But these are just some variations to start working on to see if you can build what you need, the flexibility and strength. The last couple that we're going to do are going to be some standing poses. So, Warrior Two being a great exercise. We're going to square our hips up. We want the heel and the toes pointing forward. We want the left foot parallel to the back foot. So here what we're going to do is we're going to open our hips, press on the outside of the foot, and then bend the front knee. The trick here is that we are rolling the knee open at the same time that we're pressing the big toe down. So a lot of people might find their knee rolling in. This is going to torque and put some excess pressure on that. Other people are going to roll out and roll out the foot. This again is going to make you unstable. So we want to make sure big toe pressing down as we sink this knee, trying to get it to parallel or as comfortable as we can, opening the hips, and then the arms will come out, gaze to the fingertips. So just as much as we're working on this leg, we're pressing the back leg just as much. This is going to help keep strength into the inside part, outside part of this leg for stabilization. This pull, open, toe down is going to help stabilize the front leg. So we got Warrior Two, and then we're going to do Horse. So we're going to take our hands out, feet are going to be about wrist, and then we're going to turn the knees out again here, and bring the hands to prayer, and sink down. Again, we want to make sure that we're not just rolling those knees in, but that we're rolling the knees out as we sink down. If you can't get your heels even with your toes, that can be a little bit of an angle. Just make sure, again, you're pulling the knees open. Again, those big toes have to press down. So many times we're going to roll out, not going to be very stable. Press the big toe down. This is what's going to help get the inner thigh, the inner line, I should say, engagement, thus also helping that knee. So opening the knees, pressing the big toes down, and then we're going to sit here, not letting the booty scooch back, but underneath us as we sink deeper, holding for as many breaths as you would like to hold, and feel that strengthening into that knee. So those are some great Pilates and yoga poses that you can use to help work your knees. So we're not just addressing the knee, but we're addressing some of the other key issues that can affect the knee. By working all of this together, this should help overall build some more strength, more flexibility, and help create balance in that. So Disco Sue, I hope this answers your question, and I look forward to taking more of your questions as they come in. Thanks.